Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining on the Real Sessions. The show must go online, where we recap the last 4 episodes of our show. We have some special guests, but I'll get to them here in a second. But first, I'd like to thank all of our sponsors who sponsor us on a weekly basis. Make sure you go to patreon.com/onthemarkstudios. You can subscribe for just as little as $5 a month. Everything helps. This is a free show that we provide for our artists and you to bring more art right to your screen and your doorstep. So thank you so much for joining us. Greg.
Yeah, no, like he said, On The Mark, M-A-R-C. That's also the YouTube channel. If you're watching this right now, you're on YouTube. So go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button, hit the bell, get the reminders. We've got a lot more great shows for you this season. We've already had some incredible ones this season thus far. And again, this is season 3. We're 10 episodes in right now.
It's incredible.
We've been doing this now since middle of 2020?
Since
we
the
started
world
this.
ended.
Yeah, since the world ended. We've had just a slew of incredible artists from around Columbia and throughout South Carolina and beyond.
Yeah, that's correct.
You know, we've had folks from all over the place, and we've got some folks coming in all the way from Austin, Texas. We got some folks coming in. So he was actually supposed to be on this past few episodes, but we had to make some adjustments, and we're going to get him on very soon. Yeah, well, he'll be on soon. So we got some rescheduling. My order's out of whack. So you know, we call these live sessions in the event that I've actually wanted to kind of explain this to some folks, because I've had to talk about this to even the artists. We film as if it's live. Everything is recorded in a live session, but it is recorded so that we can make sure that we give the best possible production value for the amount of time and the resources and the effort that everybody is putting in. So the turnaround time is usually about 2 weeks on these episodes. So you're seeing it about 2 weeks after the show has been recorded. So just so you're aware on the outside world. I love giving the inside secrets.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Well, I've hinted at it a couple different times, you know, where it's like, well, you'll hear people in some of the interviews being like, well, that show's going to be over by the time this airs. So, like, it's not a secret. But it's just, when we say live, what we mean is we're recording it live. So we've got a crew of folks that come in every single Monday night, and in some cases Tuesday nights. We've had to do some additional dates just to accommodate some folks. And, you know, we've got a crew that sits behind the cameras, operates, switches them while it's happening. We've got somebody mixing the audio and everything like that. And we don't do anything extra to it. We send to you guys what it is and what it would sound like if you went out and you saw these folks live. Because part of our goal is to showcase the talent that we have in this region, and for you to go through and check out all the past episodes that we have coming, that we've already aired. Check out those artists, find out where they're playing, find out where you can get their music. And most of those, you can even go into the description of those videos, and we'll have links to their Facebook pages, to their Spotifys, to their iTunes. We've got our mascot in here today.
Go, Petey.
From WXRY Unsigned. We got Petey, the real star of the show, in here right now. You can see him right here. But that's a great segue, because today we have with us something that I've been wanting to do this season for our episodes of The Show Must Go Online, where we sit down and we're going to talk to some of the folks from around Columbia in this region who are part of the music scene in different ways than just being the person on stage performing. Although in some cases, they are people that get on stage and perform. So, and that's the way it goes. You know, we've got folks that work behind the scenes with us, whether you're talking about Morgan Johnson, incredible bass player, plays with a lot of different bands here in Columbia. You've got Jordan Griffin, a.k.a. Baxter Music, just released his first single.
Rodney Foster.
Rodney Foster Jr., an incredible bass player. If you guys haven't been over to Shay's Lounge, you need to go check him out. That's the house band, man. Rodney Foster, Roderick Johnson, T.J. McKee. All of those guys have been on the show in some form or fashion or another, or have helped with the show in some form or fashion as well. And then, you know, we've got some other incredible folks, too, that have been a part of this. Matt Buck, Zach Zaba. I got to give it up to Joe J and all those folks, too. And I just can't even, like, say how appreciative it is that they've taken this in and, like, embraced it and enjoyed, like, being a part of it, to the point where, like, even as we look forward to the next season, like we're talking to Matt, he's like, man, I want to be a part of it, and we'll continue to do these things. So this is not the last season. I can promise you that. We'll have some changes in the following seasons, but we've got a lot more stuff coming up. But enough about the future. Let's talk about today, or in this case, the past, if you're watching this now. Little recap there. So right now we have two incredible people. If you guys are not familiar, we've got Mr. Brent Lundy and we've got Steve from WXRY Unsigned. That's 99.3 right here in Columbia. It is a local radio station. They highlight independent artists and everything, but I don't want to give it away. I'll let you guys explain what you do. Let me just pass the mic or use your own mics. I don't care.
What do we
That's
do?
a good question. Now we have to
We
examine
waste time.
Now we have to
Waste
examine
time.
ourselves and how we've been wasting our lives the past decade and a half.
Yeah, that's
Well,
17 years.
We
somewhere
started out WXRY Unsigned all those years ago, and the music climate has changed so much. We remonikered to WXRY Discovery now because the record.
Did I
Because-
say Unsigned or did I
because
say
You said
Discovery?
Unsigned, but that's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I still say
I know.
Unsigned. I'm
yeah,
on
yeah.
because
We still say Unsigned, and we host the program.
Don't worry. He can't even get the name of this show
But-
right. It's on the
You
Less
see, that's what I'm
Sessions
saying,
Real
yeah.
Live thing.
we're the
Every
same way.
time. Every time.
But really, you don't have to be a signed artist anymore. I mean,
No,
I don't think particularly now with the way COVID has gone and everything.
Right.
I don't think you have to. More people are realizing that you don't need to have an intermediary. You can do it
right.
yourself,
There-
and you can find new audiences.
And we were just talking with both of you. It's like the phrase that I keep hearing is YouTube is the record company.
That's right.
And that's an oversimplification, but so much of that is still true.
Technology has changed the game for sure, 100%. I mean, you've got I was talking about this a while ago. Like, you've got a TikTok radio station on XM radio now. So it's like literally all the songs that are trending on TikTok, they've got a channel dedicated to it.
Well, and there's I have people ask me, the record company people, because they still will pitch radio stations on playing records and everything, and you'll see the charts, that sort of thing. But they get frustrated with me because I don't really care. I mean, you can use the charts as kind of a guide, but nowadays it is so easy as a music fan to discover. To find new music in terms of it's hard to to find the needle in a haystack, but there's a whole lot of hay out there,
Absolutely.
and you don't need someone directing you to one pile of hay, so to speak. And now with all these online sources and everything, it's if you're a machine, we were talking about Machine Gun Kelly before the show, just as an example, if you're a fan of his, you already know when he drops a new song.
Yeah,
And you may have already heard the whole thing.
absolutely.
You don't have to wait for the radio station to play it. And the music industry in itself is acting as if they're the gatekeepers anymore, and that's not the case.
No, man, they're going the way of Blockbuster and stuff like that. Like, they thought they had a monopoly on it, and like, times have changed, technology has changed, and certain things have caught up with the industries that did not pay enough attention or did not continue to listen to the folks around them. I mean, but here nor there. I mean, like, that's always been the case. Everything evolves, everything changes. Whether you're talking about going from from AM radio to FM radio to satellite to back from satellite to internet radio.
Well, even just how albums are being recorded. Like, 20 years ago,
You had to do it now.
you had, well, not only that, you had to do an album full length.
Yeah.
You had to do it in a proper studio. Now,
You can do it at home. You can do it here.
Yeah, there are songs now that have been produced inside of a bedroom that are on the radio that are top of the charts.
Billie Eilish.
Or recorded,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
elements recorded on the
Oh, they are.
iPhone, for gosh
Yeah,
sakes.
I mean, they've
it's
done whole
crazy.
movies on iPhones and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I mean, like, listen, if you were to take a camera from an iPhone back 40 years and use it, you're going to get a better quality image than a lot of
Yeah,
that
I
stuff
know.
that was recorded back then. Now, listen, you're never going to beat real in terms of its quality. I mean, technology catches up to itself. A friend of mine, and Marcus knows you know him as well, probably. Evans McGill. We're both nerds and stuff like that. And you go back and you look at some of the films that were recorded. That's the reason that they can go back and re-release it in higher quality, is because the technology that we have in terms of like digital took time to even catch up to the analog, because transferring like analog film into digital, you only had so much capacity back in the day. You can still release a 4K version of Terminator because that real footage was rendered to a platform that could only take so much data. And now they go back and they re-release those movies from the actual film, and they re-release it into these things. And we get this even with audio tracks. They go back and they're like, oh, now that we have the technology that would actually like pick up all the nuances within the recording, whether it be from the vinyl, whether it be from a reel or whatever it is, and we can get that higher quality back from re-recording it. So
30 years ago, it used to be that you had to get a good recording, you had to, it was thousands and thousands of dollars. So you'd have, now you can get a pretty darn good quality recording, with $200, $300 equipment or less, as the case may be. However, I think that transitions us now into the day and age of the creator and the producer, in terms of someone that is able to facilitate the creator, the artist, realizing what their vision is, guiding them through the process of creating the sound.
Yeah,
It's the day and age of someone that knows how to mix and master the song, because now it really depends on how well it's mastered. Because distribution, you can just put it up on SoundCloud or Mixcloud or whatever. Yeah. The gatekeepers are no longer there. It's now the day and age of how good is the product that you're doing. It's a great period for collaboration.
Well, I mean, I think
really
what's kind of interesting though is it kind of transitions back to an earlier time of, like the gatekeepers for a period of time were the radio DJs, the people that were listening and tuning in before the industry is like came in and like took control over so many stations, over so many different things, and like controlled what was going out and what was coming in. Because there was like, if you consider like 60, 70 years ago, radio stations controlled what they put out for the most part to some degree. The DJ would be the person that would bring something in and decide what to play. And in a sense, that's kind of come back around, because now it's the people themselves that get the choice to say that this is something that I enjoy. This is something that I want to listen to, and I can push and share this with my friends and everything like that. So
there are people like in the radio industry that have said, well, Pandora and Spotify are going to be the end of radio because people can choose their own thing. You or I, none of us have enough time in the day to go through and like do all that listening. That's what we do as a radio station. We're curators, and we listen to a lot of stuff. Randy, behind the scenes on WXRY Discovery, he listens to everything.
Everything that comes across his desk.
And then so we
out what fits.
Yeah, we try to make that call of, okay, what's real, what do we think is really worthy of sharing?
Absolutely. And that's the fun thing too, is because like we it's not as if we're saying that this is what you need to listen to, but like we can help filter some of this down to some degree, because like there's going to be plenty of folks that we've had on here that some folks aren't going to like, and there's going to be plenty of folks on here that maybe somebody's never heard of. But at the end of the day, it's like we also have that ability to go, okay, these are people that know what they're doing, and we can get them on here and hopefully not waste anybody's time, which none of it's a waste of time at all. Like if somebody's creating something, like, and you're at a point where you feel you want to share it.
I'll tell you kind of along the lines, I'll tell you kind of a dirty secret is, well, first of all, people will say, hey, can I send you a CD? And I go, please don't. And it's not because we don't want to hear your music. It's we're going to do it. I have boxes and boxes, and I've got 15,000 CDs of stuff in my collection.
Sure.
And then I've got boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that people have sent us, artists have sent us, and their press kits and all that. I don't throw any of that out.
I guess I will go ahead and put my album away that I brought here for you.
Oh, well,
do you have a link?
That'd be great.
I've already sent him your stuff.
Just send me a WAV file, and then we'll send it out to Randy and let Randy listen to it.
There you go.
We'll send sheet music via pigeon.
But I can't throw any of that stuff out, and partially because I'm a pack rat. The other thing is because someone spent all that time and effort and money and expense and care and love. It may be an ugly baby, but it's a baby. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
You're absolutely right. And like, but I will say, because I'll see it from the other side of that too, because like we get a lot of artists too, and like we talked about this on the last episode of The Show Must Go Online, and I go back to one of the things, like Carlin Thompson over at New Brooklyn had posted this thing about having musicians come in, and we talked about this Sunday night on WXRY. Yeah, if you guys didn't hear that, we can't go back and do it. But maybe I'll be back on again in the future, and we'll talk about it some more.
You will.
But you have so many artists that come in and like want to play on shows and be a part of these things, and like there's venues that have big names or people that are touring, and they're like they'd love to have local acts come in and support, but they don't have anything truly recorded other than maybe something that was roughly recorded on an iPhone, and that just doesn't do it. So like some people, like they're ready to have a baby, but they don't know how to deliver on that side of the product.
Yeah.
And like in some cases, it's an overlap. We get folks that have created incredible music videos, that have created incredible albums and stuff like that, and like that have been on the show. But we also have folks that go back to Brandon Lowther, doesn't have anything professionally recorded at all right now. I mean, he's been on some records with some people, but doesn't have any of his own stuff professionally recorded at all.
He's incredible.
God, that man can finger pick so good, and he's got great vocal, great songwriter all the way around.
And he's been on the air with us.
Yeah.
No, like literally, he was jockeying for us way back in the day.
So I mean, so
that's
you're
awesome.
full circle.
Well,
But,
it's
like-
a complete full circle.
But like
yeah.
that's the idea too. Is like now we've
Before
got an
the mustache.
opportunity to kind of document that in a way that it's like, listen, you can use this, you can share it. You can share the links with people. Like you said, if you're trying to get your stuff out there to people and somebody says, well, I'd love to have you on the show, but do you have anything I can listen to?
Yeah.
You got a link. We have a whole swath of musicians now right here in Columbia and in the region that have their music on these programs that are like, you can go back and listen to them. They can share them. They can use it for promotion. They can even come to us and say, and we've told all of them this before, like, listen, at the end of the night, talk to Matt. He'll give you the audio. He'll give you the multi-track. Like, use it.
Use it, do something with
You've
it.
got opportunity here, and it's not costing those artists anything
At all.
Which I'll do some shameless plug here. Which is why, if you would like to join our Patreon, please do so, because we do spend money to make these productions happen. But like we don't charge the artist anything at all to come in and do this and be on the show or anything like that. We just want to get the music out there, and anything that you can do helps a lot.
Actually, I'd like to get to the point through your support that we can actually pay the artists when they come in.
That
would be awesome too.
That would be awesome.
One of our things is when we do events, and we haven't done one in a while. I think the last time we did Music Crawl on Main Street, where we had like the Unlikely Candidates play for us.
Oh wow.
We had about 10,000 people on Main Street, but even all the people that we had even busking, we made sure is like there are people like, oh, you have the exposure people, like, do it for the exposure. Do it for the exposure. Yeah, the exposure is valuable. No, we paid everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody got, it may not have been much. It may have been like $50, but it's important. Artists don't need exposure. They need paying.
Yeah, exposure in a venue and places like that, especially when it's in it's a flash in a pan. It's done, and you didn't get anything out of it. I mean, for us, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, do it for exposure, do it for the recording, do it for having your stuff out there, just having an extra source. Because listen, it's no secret that like I do the videography even Wednesday night for Cola Jazz. Like we've talked about this before on the show, and Marc's talked about it before. Like it's the same set. You know what I'm saying? We're using the same cameras. We're using the same set. The style of music is different, but you get overlaps from different artists and stuff like that. So we've had artists that have come in for Cola Jazz. We do recordings for some other folks around town as well, from other entities that do this kind of stuff. And so like we've done stuff where we've like, let's double up. Let's get these guys in here to record for this thing. They'll do a couple different songs, and then we'll have them change clothes and do another set. So like, because we're trying to be smart with how we do this type of stuff, because like it's about managing your resources, your time, availability, all of those type of things.
To kind of go back to your point of exposure, most of these people that would do something just for exposure, these musicians, although incredible, their business hasn't been built yet, right? And so, yeah, you may expose them to somebody, but they don't have business cards. They don't have a sign. They don't have, an album to actually maximize their business potential off of that exposure. So that's why it's so incredible what you guys do and what we're doing, because you can actually put a name and a face to the artist immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I like to think with like WXRY Discovery and with the radio station, because we will play local music throughout the day as well. Not very often, but then again, that's like 1% of all the music being created.
You played something nice this morning.
Yeah, by somebody that kind of stunk. No, I'm kidding.
It tanked our morning review.
History in an eye. That's Brent's song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that.
I heard-
had it in the rotation like forever.
Yeah, I heard it was like local music now, and then I heard this intro. I was like, that sounds familiar, and I was like, oh, it's Brent.
No, he said that sounds awful.
Oh, that
Then he
sounds
said, "Oh,
awful. What the heck was
and
that?
familiar."
Who put that into the computer?
Oh,
But
nice.
but one of the most valuable things, like for a show like WXRY Discovery, is you have to have if you're an artist and you're creating music and you're playing music and everything, you have to have an audience. There has to be a reason for it. Otherwise, you're just doing it in your room and no one ever hears it, and you kind of wonder what the purpose is. And this is it. We give it a chance for other folks that aren't artists, that may not go out to shows, to be able to that are interested in new music, to be able to hear it. And it's a way to, because there are lots of folks that are fans of music that are really not musicians.
Well, and sometimes
I know I'm not.
And sometimes as artists, we're so focused on the mass that the mass populace. Like we want everybody to know about us, right? But it literally could have been, you could have shined light on Brent's song played this morning, and one person could have heard it on your radio show, and it made their day, and it was worth it.
Oh yeah, and
You
then
know
they
what I
were
mean?
like, "Well, I like this." Well, and that sort of thing, and put it in the back. And it takes a while for people to hear that. You're not the day and age of the radio station playing a song and it being a hit. Probably died with Buddy Holly.
Right.
That's no longer happening.
Yeah.
Well, as if it ever happened. I think it was. I think it. What you don't hear, like even with Hootie, it was all these things. Is like the band worked their asses off playing parties and everything.
Yeah.
And they built that audience, and it's still it's like being a politician or whatever. You're knocking on doors.
It's a lot of work. There's a
It's
whole lot
retail.
of work that goes into it. I've had this conversation with many artists as well. Because listen, going back to like wanting exposure, go to an open mic. That's a good time to learn, to cut your teeth, to figure out what you're doing, talk to other musicians. We do one right here.
That's how Brent and I met.
That right here at Uncle Fester's, I do
That's
one.
right, it was an open
That's
mic.
how you and I met. Yeah, because right when I got into town,
Yeah.
I happened to have a week off from traveling, and
Yeah.
heard.
I think I read a post. It was on I was flipping through Facebook at the time, and you was like, "Well, I'm just moving into town, and I need to do. Are there any musician connections?" And this one, and I also read that you were moving to Chapin. I think you mentioned I'm moving to the Chapin area. It's like, well, we're down here right now doing an open mic in the middle of Chapin. Come on down.
Yeah, and I have to give, not just because you're sitting here. I mean, I've given you this credit in conversations that you would never know, but Brent was one of the very first people to welcome me into this scene, and he welcomed me with open arms. And not only that, he literally walked me into multiple gigs around here, and it was so incredible of you to do that for me, like,
Right
and,
on,
and,
man.
and my family. Seriously, I
Right on.
appreciate you.
And
That's what it's all about. That's the sort of energy that I want to be a part of.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And it, like with open mics, sound very like kind of small. It's like, well, you're playing open mic at some place. That's how every performer got their start.
Listen, that's how we met.
Yeah.
The evolution to this point. If it wasn't for an open mic, we wouldn't be working together.
Yeah, I was getting way back in the day when I was working for one of the other stations when I was like 20-something. Would spend, I think it was like Wednesday nights at the Village Idiot, up the 33 stairs. Be careful on the way down. And we did. I basically hosted along with the music. We hosted an open mic, and I did the remote. Come on down, drink, get drunk, have pizza, listen to music. And later on, one of the USC students that would show up and play his songs and everything, went back home after he graduated. Decided to stop teaching, and now he's all over. He's all over the radio.
Anybody we know that you want?
Changed his name to Amos Lee.
Amos
and
Lee.
then really did the thing.
Yeah.
Ryan Massaro is just, it was like a 20-something college kid. He got his guitar and he came to the Village Idiot, drank beer, and hung out with his friends and played open mic. And that, but
Did he go to USC? I didn't even realize
Yeah.
that.
Went to
Wow.
USC.
education major. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's and for just that's the one example I can think of. I'm sure there are like hundreds,
Oh, I'm
hundreds
sure
of that
Torre
same story.
Moi was that way, you know. I mean, like, and he's done his thing because he went to USC as well, and then you know, I mean,
Well, he's now calling himself Chaz Bear.
interesting.
I know. I
Interesting.
got the press release. It was Chaz Bear. What's who? Oh, Chaz Bundick. Well, that was the time where his one of the great stories in Columbia was he had was the Heist and the Accomplice, pretty good band. His side project that he was just playing around with was what took off, and that's a that's
You
a
never
big thing.
know,
You just
man.
you can't.
And it's not up to a record company to decide what they're gonna shove down people's throats. It's what takes off organically.
Well, and that's kind of that kind of full circle back to the earlier part of our conversation is I'll have the record label say, well, this is going to work as a single, and I'll be like, no, I'm not going to play it. It's not a hit. Well, it's moving up the charts. The charts is how well you did your job getting other stations to play it. But you can go online, you can look at all this online stuff and be like, people that like this artist, do they like that song? The answer is no. They don't like that song. They like the other one on the record.
Yeah.
But the guys in the suits who know nothing about music other than it's a product are that this is what we're pushing. And I was like, it may be okay.
Well, I mean,
and it may be okay, but that's not, but the audience is telling you.
That was like one of the interesting things, like even with the most recent Grammys, like they pushed a certain song for what was that movie, Encanto. They pushed a certain song to get nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah.
But that wasn't even the song that people connected with.
Yeah.
They figured that this was going to be the one, but it was. We don't talk about. I don't want to say the whole thing. No. We'll they'll blade us out.
Copyright strike.
We
don't talk about Disney.
Yeah,
we do not.
Yeah, but I mean, you get the idea. I mean, that happens all the time. Like, I mean, and listen, that happens even to the detriment of some of the artists, where like, man, everybody is into this one throwaway song. Like even Kiss, not Kiss, Kiss from a Rose by Seal was a throwaway song for him, But that was the one that not that he hadn't done stuff at that point, not that he hadn't made some celebrity for himself, but that was a song that just like everybody knows that song now.
Yeah.
And that was B-side, scratch track. I'm gonna get rid of this type.
Got picked up by a Batman movie and
Well, a lot of times because they couldn't get the rights to something else.
Sure.
So they're like, hey, we can use this B-side. There are a lot of music inspired by the movie kind of soundtracks.
Sure.
That kind of there's so much now out there. I know occasionally we'll get feedback from the people like, you're not hip and cool. The radio station's not hip and cool enough. It's like, I'm not programming for the music geeks.
Yeah.
The station's not there for the music geeks. The station is there for everybody else that casually likes music and wants to stay fresh and hear something new. Yeah.
Well,
and that's why the same with WXRY Discovery is it's there to kind of hold your hand to everybody. I mean, even if you want to say they would like to think they're cool, but they're not. But that's how it goes. But yeah, but that's all the real people. The real people that want to hear music, they want to hear something new. Everybody's delighted by hearing something that really inspires them that they haven't heard before.
Absolutely. No, and but I will say, given what you said, we are here for the music geeks because we are music geeks ourselves and everything like that. And we have spent a good 30 minutes now kind of going into this. So we've covered half the show, which is great. So
editing down to 5 minutes.
I'm not going to edit any of this. We're going to do this whole thing clean, straight. But right now, I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead because we've got a limited amount of time, but we got a few songs that we want to kind of revisit from the past few episodes. We've had some incredible artists. We actually had 2 bands in between this one, which just so happened the way it worked out. So the first song that we're going to listen to is a song by Owen. Have you got a chance to meet Lang yet already?
I haven't met him.
Okay, because I know you weren't there for
We're
that.
friends on
recording.
Facebook.
Yeah. So I know you guys have probably met Owen before. Have you met Lang? Do you know Lang?
New for me.
Okay.
But
fantastic musician, incredible songwriter, just all around great dude. So this next song this first song that we have coming up for you guys is called Everybody Here by Owen.
Everybody here's my therapist. I need all the help I can get. I look around, I'm losing my ground. I don't like what I see one bit. I float by like a whisper. You hand me a megaphone. In our own little world, somehow we're not alone. We're not alone. Everybody here, everybody here, everybody here's my archaeologist, digging in the dirt for things I miss, down on hands and knees beneath the olive trees, finding my love still exists. We'll live in memory like statues in Rome. In our own little world, somehow we're not alone. We're not alone. Everybody here, everybody here, I don't know what I'm dreaming anymore. I just know you're believing. I don't know whose shoes are on my floor. I just know you're not fleeing. What I can do is wash your feet, patch you up when you're bleeding. I'll keep your secrets discreet. I say what you're meaning. You're meaning. You're meaning to me. I float by like a whisper. You hand me a megaphone. In our own little world, somehow we're not alone. We're not alone. Everybody here, everybody here, everybody here, everybody here, everybody here.
That was Everybody Here by Lang Owen. At this point, you should be able to check out his new album, which is out now as well. Go find him. We'll make sure there's links in the bio and everything. Go back and check out the previous episode, too, episode 6. There's a lot of other great content on there. I've been a huge fan of Lang since the first time I heard him play. He's got this incredible, like, Paul Simon slash... like the way he sings, with a little bit of Dylan mixed in with some of it.
And James Taylor.
Yeah, a little James
His
Taylor.
guitar playing is
we
a lot.
mentioned that
Very close.
even on the show. Like you can even hear like during the interview portion, if you go back and watch the episode, Matt Buck yelled from the booth, "Paul Simon." So you can hear him be like, because I was naming some of the folks that he sounded like, that he reminded me of, and I know that some artists hate hearing that, but at the same time, it's like these are not meant to be diminishing. Like these are
It's actually a compliment.
These are incredible folks, and like Lang's got some really great content out there as well. So check him out. Find him on Facebook, everything like that. Lang Owen Music. The next artist that we're gonna bring to you guys is this one was probably one of my favorite solo performances thus far. And I know I'm
Thanks.
not supposed to say that. I meant this season. Come on.
Right on. I
First
agree.
off,
Yeah.
first off, I've heard you do more solo performances than
you would
anybody
ever.
else in this
No,
room.
you've already filled up your life quota with hearing me perform.
Absolutely. But Petey will tell us who the next one is.
He's really trying to get them. He's a
Petey-
very opinionated dog. He really is trying to get to the microphone.
Everybody is a music critic.
Everybody's a critic. But so our next artist, we had her on, and man, absolutely incredible vocals, so much soul. Ladies and gentlemen, take a listen to the incredible Shelby Ray.
This one's also a fan favorite. This one's called Nothing With You. I wrote it with a very good friend of mine, Mr. John Mullins. Got a million things to do today, but all I wanna do is lay in bed and dream it away with you. Disappear under the sheets again, hiding from the sound of the alarm, but we're not listening. We don't pay no mind. All we got is time, and if we're wasting it, I wanna waste it by your side, 'cause all I wanna be is, all I wanna feel is, I just wanna stay wrapped up in you, yeah. Every single day, and everywhere I go, I just wanna do nothing with you. Pull the shades to cover up the light, getting lost inside your arms till the day becomes a night. And when the moon surrenders to the sun, we'll tell the world to stay away, 'cause we've only just begun. We don't pay no mind. All we got is time, and if we're wasting it, I wanna waste it by your side, 'cause all I wanna be is, all I wanna feel is, I just wanna stay wrapped up in you, yeah. Every single day, and everywhere I go, I just wanna do nothing with you. All I wanna be is, all I wanna feel is, I just wanna stay wrapped up in you, yeah. Every single day, and everywhere I go, I just wanna do nothing with you, yeah. Nothing with you.
We're gonna keep moving along here. This
Let's
next
talk
one.
more about Shelby Ray.
Yeah.
Well,
I
okay,
didn't want to
let's go.
skip.
All right, all
I
right.
really like, and I don't hear this a lot. She has a really cool sense of melody.
Yes.
The song that you were just playing,
Yeah.
I was singing along, and I knew where it was going to go.
Well,
and she's like, that's a well composed melody.
Well, and the thing is, after the song ended, we were listening to it before the program, and when you can sing it after you hear it and it's still in your head for a little bit, that's good songwriting.
so
Yeah.
rare.
That's good
Same.
songwriting.
Thanks,
That's
Shelby.
actually how I kind of gauge my songwriting too. If I go to sleep and I wake up in the morning still singing it, like that's kind of where I gauge like if that's where that needs to go or not. Because if it really like you said, right when that song ended, I was still singing the melodic pathways that she was choosing, and it was just incredible.
And if you're a musician, you're listening, and kind of listening to this, is like, don't feel bad that most of your songs aren't like that, because it's a rare.
Yeah.
Listen,
I would love. That's why I
here-
always like to say with the Beatles, I would love to hear all the stuff Lennon and McCartney were like, nah, this is crap.
here's the crazy thing. In that moment of that recording at this point in time, as we're speaking now, she's 21 years old. Like, she is so far ahead of the curve when it comes to a lot of musicians, because we've met folks that, maybe have been equally even playing as long as she has, because I think she said she started when she was like, she's been singing since she was little, but she started like performing and going places when she was like 13. So she's been doing this for almost the better part of a decade now. But I know folks that have been doing it double the length of time, or have even been doing it as long as her, that just don't have the same level of maturity, the same thought process when it comes to writing, performing, getting out there and working and everything like that. And I know we talked about it. A lot of that goes back to her mom was a huge supporter. That was her momager, and she didn't just handle it for her. Like, she showed her. She learned a lot from that. And like, from the interactions that I've had and the conversations that I've had with Shelby, she really does pay attention to the folks that are around her. She's written with some incredible songwriters, and like, she's heading up to Nashville.
And I want to get to that part. She's taking her career in that direction.
Yeah. Well, she's already been up there. Like, so she's going up there to work with folks that she's already worked with.
Yeah.
So like, she's taking this time. She's like, I'm not going to hit Second Avenue. I'm not going without a plan. I'm not just trying to go up there to play music.
Yeah, she's been hanging out with Jay Edwards, a friend of mine who's really got a great voice and made his presence in
Nashville. And I don't even
Nashville.
think it's not even a matter of like, listen, she would go wherever those guys probably are. So it just so happens to be that they're in Nashville, and that's where she's going. So like, I told her like on the show, like, having known the full picture, hearing where she's at, and like just comparing and contrasting to all the different folks. Like, Marcus and I have talked about this. We know people that say, well, I'm going to Nashville, and we're like,
please don't.
We'll see you in a few months.
Yeah, please don't.
I'm going to LA to be an actor. It's the same thing.
If you're not ready, if you're not planned, if you're not thoughtful with it, but hearing all of her stuff, I straight up even told her on the show, I said, now that I've got this full picture, you're not coming back. Like, she'll come back to visit, but I don't think she's going to be coming back, man. And that's incredible. I'm so happy for her to do that. And like, I'm actually, I have an optimism for her that I probably wouldn't have for a lot of other folks that said they were going to do this.
Because she's savvy enough to,
Mm-hmm.
not get swallowed up by it.
Yep.
And that's not a bad thing to be like, I'm leaving the local music scene and I'm going on to Nashville or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, we should encourage more
Absolutely.
folks to do that. Although, I kind of roll
Have
my
a plan,
I kind of roll my eyes. So like, I'm going to Austin. I'm going to Nashville. If you're going there for the right reasons.
Yeah, if you're going there to slave away on Broadway, that's the wrong reason.
Well,
in my opinion.
You can play covers for thankless crowds already.
Yeah.
You can do that
And
here,
probably
and
make about the same amount of money.
Listen,
more.
And that
You can
brings
make
up
more
kind of
around
an
here.
interesting
wouldn't even
point,
say
because
that,
like,
but yeah.
this is part of the point that this dials back into the show itself, and to why we're trying to do this and everything like that, because like, that is part of the problem that I think we have here in Columbia, and we've talked about this last week, and Marcus and I have been on this before plenty of times. Hell, it's one of the reasons Marcus came to Columbia was because of some of the incredible artists that we have here. Like, you met like folks like Reggie Sullivan, Hank Bilal,
Mike
some of those,
Stone.
Mike Stone, playing down in the Keys, playing in Florida and stuff like that. And you came here because of the talent that was
There's
here.
a ton of jazz stuff going around in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And listen,
let's not get started. That's a whole new conversation.
That's a whole different thing. And like,
That should be a whole other show.
shout out to Marc Rapp. Oh, it is Marc Rapp. Check it out. Cola Jazz. Go to colajazz.com. That's a whole different
Guy
conversation.
single-handedly brought inspiration back to the local jazz scene.
Yes, he did.
It-
Like,
which is kind of a subset of the local music scene in and of itself. I mean,
my other microphone on the ground.
What's Petey chewing on
no,
now?
he's chewing on your.
Oh, he's got my water bottle.
No.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's a terrible water bottle. Anyway.
It's all right.
Well,
have it.
yeah, he's gonna get into that.
No, he dropped it.
He's gonna
So-
get into that vodka,
but,
and it's
you
gonna
know,
be
that-
I
ended.
know it.
Just kind of circling back on that for a second, like that's kind of the point of this show, is because like we hear people say, well, I'm gonna go to Charleston, or I'm gonna go to Asheville, or I'm gonna go to Athens, or I'm gonna go to Nashville, or I'm gonna go to Austin, or any of these places and anything like that. And I've said this before. First off, my grandfather was in Asheville when I was a kid, and when I went up to Asheville when I was just 8, 9, 10 years old, it's not the same Asheville.
Yes.
Right.
Which means that in less than a lifetime, this place has turned into a music mecca. And like, that's because people did things like this. They got together, they collaborated, they worked together, they showcased the artists and the talents. Petey's like, I agree. I agree.
Give me that
Well,
microphone.
you know, and if you are
Take him, Dad.
there we go. Sit here with me. If you but the thing is, if you are a working musician and you're like going, oh, I'm going to get out of Columbia because it's just not happening here, you're just going to be unhappier somewhere else.
That's correct.
You know, it all comes down to, are you going to have a positive attitude?
Yeah.
And are you going to make opportunities?
Sure.
Another thing, what we started the show on is there are no gatekeepers.
Not
It's
anymore.
Up to the artist.
We have all the technology right here in front of us. You don't have to go to these meccas that have these incredible studios to record anymore. Not that it's not a good thing to go to those sometimes and check them out, because they're there for a reason. But at the same time, you don't have to be there to get started. You can write music anywhere. You can create music anywhere.
I played this the show outside of the Museum of Art a couple weeks ago, and I told this crowd of about 400 people, I said, hey, you know, isn't there incredible musicians in this town? And they all go, yes. And I said, listen, we're right on the cusp of being the next Motown if we actually push hard enough. Now, when I'm saying Motown, I don't mean necessarily the genres that they put out, but the collective agreeance that culture gave. We're almost there in Columbia to where we could be a game changer. We could be like Atlanta is for hip hop. We could be like Nashville is for country music. We could be our own version here. Yes, we had Hootie come out of here. Yes, we had Amos Lee, but that was 15 years ago. You know, 20 years ago.
We've had a lot. The thing is, if you look back, we've had a lot more. We've had Toro and we've had.
I want to talk about the hard rock thing in the 2000s,
like
Crossfade.
Crossfade,
and
too.
They sold 1.5 million, moved 1.5 million units of physical. That was back when people were buying physical copies. That's a thing.
Yeah,
that's
and when people think, oh, they just point that always frustrates me is they'll point the finger at Hootie, or there'll be some like it is deserving as Daniel Howell is. The Columbia music scene has always been more than just those two artists. So they're the most visible examples, particularly to people that aren't kind of clued into what is and involved in the circle of the performers, and that sort of thing. But it's part of it is the reason things happened in the 90s was because everybody was all on the same page.
That's right.
And it was, you had people that were willing to spend the $5 to get in the bar to go and see a live band.
Listen.
And take that risk. And it's so frustrating sometimes with folks who are $5. I'm not going to pay that. You know, it's like you used to have to pay $5 to get in any bar.
Yeah,
on a Friday night.
Listen,
you know?
and
If you're underage, it would be 10.
We've talked about that too, because like there's like the price point hasn't changed in like 30 plus years. You know, and it's still, whether you're talking about venues that are paying musicians or whether you're talking about getting into venues to pay. And like we do shows here on Thursday night at Festers, and like for original artists coming into play and everything like that. And I've even had some of the artists kick back on me, which first off, 100% of the door goes to these artists. You know what I'm saying? We have a safety net here for the artists that are performing regardless, but like 100% of the music, the money that we make at the door goes to the artists. Like there's no padding for anybody else. I'm covered. I'm good. You know, like I've got everything else. Like we're going to make sure that the artists get taken care of. There's even a guaranteed portion for the artists that are coming in, but I'll set the door rate at a rate that I know is going to get them money, that I know is going to work out for them. And I've set it between 15 to 20 bucks. And like some of them would kick back, well, I don't think people are going to pay that. And I said, listen, I don't care if I put $1 or $100. If people want to come in and see you, they're going to pay it. If they don't, they won't drop 50 cents. We've had people, I mean, I've seen people walk away from $2 door nights. You know, it's like I've had people come in and like, hey, I'll do you buy one, get one on this one. And they're like, no. And they just walk away because that's not what they're here for. And like, and they don't know you. And it's like, and there's also an advertising fact of it. Like I've had to have this conversation with different folks, and I will say it right here, right now. I don't care if you're doing comedy. I don't care if you're doing music. If you are trying to do something that you're trying to put out there artistically to engage with people, make the pages. It doesn't cost you anything to create an Instagram, a TikTok, a Facebook, a SoundCloud, any of that stuff. It's free. get yourself promoted as easily as you can. I've had artists that want to do stuff, and I'm like, you don't even have social media presence right now.
Right.
How do I sell you? How do
If
I
you
get
cannot- if
people
you're
to
not
come
selling
out
yourself.
if you're not selling yourself?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I've always, my experience has always been is sometimes we have like, you have wildly creative people, really talented musicians creating with that are terrible about promoting themselves. They're just terrible. I mean, I'm not the greatest about promoting myself, but I've not done too badly over the years. But you have these wonderful talents, and they're like, they all of a sudden become really, really shy once they step off stage.
Yeah.
And then you have people that aren't as talented, but are really talented at doing the marketing,
Sure.
and they're getting the gigs. Now, whether people want to come and see them again is another matter entirely. That's your job as a musician, but you gotta have the confidence to push yourself and to make it happen.
We see everything.
And there's
in
lots of
between.
free tools out there. I understand.
Yeah.
We know how it is.
I'm
about being
naturally an
wrong.
introvert. Like naturally, I would.
Anyone that's creative is.
I would, yeah, and I
Anyone.
would rather be at home, But like one thing that I made a point of when I started my business is that, when I take my break, there's a lot of musicians that would just go outside. Before I ever reach any like other destination of getting a drink or anything like that, I greet the tables in front of me. I go and say hi to them, like thanks for listening, or like thanks for being a part of the show and coming and hearing me, because that is there are people that I know when I walk through the door, I don't see them as money signs, but I know they're going to drop a 20. They're going to drop a 20 in my tip jar. But why? I created a relationship with them. You know what I mean? And it's not, like I said, it's not about money, but I just know when I see them in the room, my tip jar just went up $20. You know what I mean?
It's an exchange, though, because
Yeah.
like you're giving them something equally as well. And it's like the value of something is based off of what somebody's willing to pay for it. Truthfully, like that's that. But like at the end of the day, like you're giving something, you're putting yourself out there, and like this goes even full circle back to what you were talking about trying to be creative and stuff like that. You're giving up that creative energy by doing these type of things and doing these shows and stuff like that. And like there's only so many hours in the day. You only have so much time to do these things, and it's an exchange.
Yep.
It's an exchange of goods.
Well, we were talking earlier about doing electronic for links for promoting yourself to other media outlets, that sort of thing. And for people listening, that's kind of how they listen. You've got to be on the Spotify, you've got to be on the iTunes, or you could sell it through SoundCloud or whatever, or Bandcamp. But you also have to have physical CDs, because if the people are there at your show, they may not want a T-shirt unless it's particularly attractive.
Yeah.
But they certainly would like to. If they had a great time, they want something to remember it by, and there's nothing better than having a CD.
That's right.
Listen,
even
stupid
and
little
then
things like
push it from
stickers.
the
Give a
stage.
sticker
Push it from
away.
the stage.
You know what I'm saying? Slap your sticker on in the back of a urinal. I don't care. I've seen that before.
Right.
Like something that lets people know. Oh, well, why is this here? Who is this person? Maybe I'll go find out more. I see that kind of stuff. Or even having the sticker. If somebody slaps it on their car, listen. That's something that's so simple and inexpensive to do. Like if you're just willing to invest a little bit into yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah, and one of the things that I also get is like every now and again you'll hear people saying, "Oh, I don't like that band because they suck," and that bothers me because they don't suck, because somebody likes them.
Listen.
If we all like the same type of music, it would be a really boring world.
Listen,
everybody. It's always comes down to, as a performer, how many. It's not whether you have fans; it's how many you have, and your job is to expand that.
How many have you acquired at this point? Because I've used this before as well. I'm like, listen, simple math. Like if 1% of this planet, 99% of the planet hates your music, but if 1% of this planet likes your music, that's 7 million people.
That's
man.
not to. And that's your job is to connect with. Not everybody is going to like what you do, but your job is to be out there and help find those people, and then get them to buy your CDs and show up to your shows and have a good time doing it. There was a friend of ours, Brent, that moved to Nashville, and he was like, he was asking me, he was like, well, how do I, what do I write? He was chasing the what's the next hit song thing, whatever was, what's cool right now? That was always the question. What's cool right now? Because I want to write that. And I was like, that's the wrong way to look at being a musician. It's like, don't write for something to be on the radio. That's terrible. What I'm looking for, when we're playing stuff that we're playing, is that I'm looking for something different. Write what moves you, what inspires you. When you get up in the morning and go, you know what? I really like writing this song. I really love playing it. It really moves. If it moves you, it's going to move somebody else. The worst thing to do is to be chasing the NSYNCs or whatever whatever.
You got to risk exposing yourself a little bit.
Well,
truthfully.
yeah. Otherwise, you're just doing a job that you hate.
Yeah.
Create something that you love, and hopefully other people love it too.
Yeah.
And they will if you love it.
Well, listen, talking about somebody that has created something that they love to do, and just seeing all the stuff that this individual has done, and now like playing with a full band behind him, which is like, listen, he has taken hip hop and he's now taken elements of rock and roll and funk and everything like that. I was so looking forward to getting Justin on this show, and man, we had a really long day, but like it was a great time. The band was great. I absolutely love these folks. We're gonna do a quick. We're gonna check out Hero and the Villains.
Yeah. Listen, call me Lazan. I got the drugs, I got the man with the plan. Y'all listen, man, but just I don't just rap, I can dance. Go get your camera, damn. Y'all don't believe in me, y'all don't want to give me no hand. What if I'm popping this shit, you're rocking it with it? Would I make you rock with my band? Yo, I threw a rock and I ran. Now I'm in Japan, now I'm Yu-Gi-Moto. Catching no feelings, just Pokemon, I'm an Jodo. Host wanna hop on my hoe, no totally fly, but you don't leave my side like a yo-yo. Leaning, I want you like Yoko, wait, oh no, I'm kidding. Really, I want you like Toto, one tattoo, your arm on my logo. Ah! Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. 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 Get up, boy. Call me Lil Punk. Bro, I ain't gon' front. I take a chick from the jump. I gotta stick to my guns and I got a ton. I ain't no, I ain't gon' run. I ain't no rookie, not trying to stun. My clip is loaded, but rockers in front. And if you try to F with me, I ain't the one. Hold up. Solo with my name is a screaming. Yellow like a rage on machines is starting up a chainsaw. Get up in the brain, make a cleavage. I can make a certified genius. I don't give a fuck about a remix. I can put a squad full of demons. A cop in a monster, a doctor, a cop. Screaming so pop, tell about Billy Jean. Bring the whole fucking team in. Yo, y'all don't wanna see this. Y'all just wanna see us in the breeze. I'm like Jesus. When I was on the couch eating cheeses. Never gotta work, I'm a bigger player weeping. Yo, I'ma shoot my shot that I got for this Glock. You a being in the top, the behemoth. And after a sauce that I done, I'ma hurt myself again just to find that I'm still breathing. Yo, get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Yo, get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Yo, get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Get up, boy, Panics! Pow, bitch, I'm busting it. Copper chain, got a copper range.
Way back, I couldn't play that.
Curse words and that kind of stuff, man.
That ain't laugh at your lame ass.
Yo.
Hey, back in the face tat. Maybe then you'll see my point of view nowadays. Without a gimmick, they boarding you up in a box, then corner you in the conforming or whatever's popping. Gosh, it's all about your following. All the likes and acknowledgement, they'll take your image and polish it. But the cracks in your art is what got you here. Now I bet that eventually you out of here. When them sales get lower than what you sold. First time you really got on and out of control. You pick up your phone and troll. That's just the way that shit go. Then your PO pull up to your home, your bro went up to the hill and he told the money, the bitches, the clout that you had went away in a snap. Cause you wanted more, but yo,
get up, boy,
yeah,
you
yeah.
ain't dead yet.
Yo.
Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet.
Yo.
Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Yo, get up, boy, get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Yo, get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Get up, boy, you ain't dead yet. Get up, boy, 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 boy. Yeah. Pat X. Hero.
Listen, I also need to give a quick shout out to Patrick Rutledge, a.k.a. Pat X, a.k.a. Professor Rutledge as well. He is the professor of mass communications over at Benedict College here in Columbia, South Carolina. This season, we also had 2 of his students were interning with us for the production of this and everything. So I definitely want to give a shout out to Carter and Aaliyah. They've done a lot of hard work and helped to do some certain things, and they've learned a little bit in the process too. And I'm looking forward to continuing to do that and use our platform as a way for other folks behind the scenes to learn things and everything like that. Just as much as like open mics are a good way for folks to come out who are playing music to learn how to do it. I've even told engineers, people that want to do like sound engineering, come work an open mic for a day. Come work an open mic, a full open mic of 14 people for a
You'll
day,
work your butt
and
off.
you go ahead and mix 14 different people with different guitars, different vocal abilities and ranges and everything like that. That is a crash course in like introductory to engineering, if you will. And then same thing, like everybody's gonna learn and start somewhere. So like it was really great to have those students. So that other guy that you saw pop up on stage, Pat X is his name. You can check out some of his music as well. You can check out all Hero stuff. You can actually check that song out. I'll make sure I put a link to the music video in there. Absolutely incredible. That song was called Lil Y.A.D.A. I can't speak highly enough, and some just absolutely incredible folks too. So please check them out. I know they got a lot of good stuff coming out. They got some new records coming out soon as well. So please, indeed. We're gonna move right along because we've been trucking pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and I want to talk more about Hero and everything like that, and I want to talk more about the next band that's coming out as well, and we can kind of recap that after this. But I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it for you guys because you've had to sit here and listen to all of us talk and to do our thing. So I'm gonna give you guys a minute. Like, listen. I hate the sound of my own voice. I'm sure there's people out there that love it. But you know, this next band, we've actually had 2 of these artists from the band on the show separately from this band as their individual performance minds, if you will. So, ladies and gentlemen, this next one is the Runout.
We're gonna do one about a place in town that I love and my kids love. Seems like a lot of different type of people love. And it's a pump track over at the Owens Field Airport, kind of municipal park over there, and it's just rad. And there's all sorts of walks of life, rolling around on the asphalt in the sunshine. So this is called Pump Track. I see you cruising past the cool kids, they stare as you go. They see smooth luck and grazing your faded jeans and hair hanging low. And all the little kids are geeking as they see a streak of speed passing by. And everybody's wearing smiles as they're rolling underneath the blue sky. You can find me at the pump track. I'll be the one with all the stove. A little too old for my t-shirt, not old enough to let it go. And you can find me at the pump track. Yeah, all my friends are rolling too. And I just met this one this morning. I hope to see you here real soon. It's all for fun, don't think about it, get yourself out the way. And stay loose while you're carving and remember not to be afraid. Yeah, we can meet right here. rest behind. Yeah, we can be right here and leave the rest behind. I think we might be fine. You can find me at the pump track. I'll be the one with all the stove. A little too for my t-shirt. Not old enough to let it go. And you can find me at the pump track. Yeah, all my friends are rolling too. And I just met this one this morning. I hope to see you here real soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to Shelby Ray, to the Runout, to Chris, Jeff, Kelly, Moses, Justin, Patrick, everybody that was on these past few weeks that helped to do this, everybody behind the scenes, Morgan, Baxter, Matt, Zach. I mean, like, everybody's been working hard. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you for having us on the show as well on WXRY. Please make sure you guys check it out. WXRY 99.3. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram. They have web pages. You can even download the you have an online radio channel now, right? You can like listen to it online.
It works great. It works great on your personal Alexa devices, all that sort of thing. Just say play WXRY. It works great. I listen to it all the time.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And we'll get links to that in here as well. Totally. So please make sure you guys check them out. It'll be right down here in the description in the comment section. Again, thank you, Brent. Thank you, Steve, so much for coming out and being a part of this.
Our radio show that focuses on independent artists.
Thank you,
Petey. Petey is the radio station's mascot and resident music critic. And we do our show focusing on independent artists every Sunday at 8 o'clock, WXRY Discovery.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to all of our sponsors, all of our Patreon. Thank you, Marcus, for helping to put this on, man. Like, truthfully, like, listen, this is the namesake right here. This is the guy that helped make sure all this stuff comes together, truthfully. So I can't thank you enough for letting me continue to kind of take some reins on this season and take lead.
Ever since the COVID restrictions have kind of let off, my traveling schedule has been pretty hectic. So I haven't been as involved in this season as I would like to be, but Greg is doing such a fantastic job holding down the fort, and I'm plugging all the incredible artists into those slots. So, you know, you scratch my back, I'm going to scratch your back, Greg, so thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thanks for joining us for On The Real Sessions live at the Warehouse and also Uncle Fester's today. I want to remind you, it takes absolutely nothing for you to go like our page on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, like our Instagram, and also if you do want to support us, go to patreon.com/OnTheMarc Once again, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Have a good night.
Yeah, right on.
wants to see PD.
Everybody wants to see PD. Bounce, bounce. Woof, woof.